LuxAir Jets is excited to announce the new, most convenient way to fly nonstop from Lexington to historic Saratoga Springs throughout the racing meet. We are now offering exclusive group packages on our luxurious private jets. Each package offers a once-in-a-lifetime experience that you can share with your friends, family, or business partners. Call for pricing and availability.
Another Saratoga meeting is in the books, and that means it's time for our final Saratoga report, brought to you by LuxAir Jets of the 2017 season. My colleague and I, Dave Grening, we could probably talk about the highlights of the meet for a half hour or so, but we're not going to carry on that long. But what a final day of the session between the Chad Brown, Todd Pletcher trainers title battle, and then that hopeful, boy, what an afternoon here on closing day.
A wild afternoon capped by a wild hopeful with Sporting Chance ducking out severely late stretch with Luis Saez trying to teach the horse something. I think he needs to use that in the mornings. He said he went to the whip left-handed because he had never hit him before and he wanted to learn a little bit more about the game. That's what the morning's for, Luis, not the last 50 yards of a grade 1 race. But luckily he stayed on the horse and he surged late and still won over Free Drop Billy, giving Wayne Lucas, 82-year-old Wayne Lucas, his 8th hopeful. You know, 2 years ago, Wayne had heart issues and he had a pacemaker and some stents put in. He can tell his doctors those are working just fine.
Absolutely. And a big effort by Free Drop Billy. But the stewards made the right call there, even though it was obvious that the winner ducked in front of Free Drop Billy. Robbie Alvarado never stopped riding, and the order of finish was not affected, so it worked out well. And let's talk about Todd Pletcher eking out the trainer's title over Chad Brown, his 40 wins, tying the record set by Chad Brown last year.
Yeah, quite a defeat for Todd to win the title this year. I thought, and I think everybody else thought, that Chad had the bullets to get it done. Last year he got it done pretty comfortably, I think by 8 or 9 over Todd, and this year was a little tighter. And you know, some of the weather the last couple of days might have hurt Chad with losing the turf racing on Saturday and most of it on Sunday and most of it on Monday. But still, he had ample horses. They had started over about 160 horses, both of them right around the 160 horse mark. So lots of opportunities there. But Todd Pletcher, he had won 12 previous titles. He'd never won 40 races before, and obviously, as you mentioned, Chad, nobody had ever done it until Chad last year. So kudos to both of them, and a tip of the hat to Todd and his staff for getting the one extra win.
I think the writing was on the wall early in the day when the 1-5 Your Love got beat for Chad. Obviously, the big difference there, and I'm sure he'll be thinking back to a couple of those close photos here and there during the meet. But like you said, great achievement for both of them, and we'll look forward to their battle again down at Belmont Park. Highlights of the meet, so many to go over. Star of the meet, Gunrunner?
I'd have to say Gunrunner. With the 2 dominant victories in the Whitney and the Woodward, I think by combined 17 and plus lengths, or about 17 lengths, I think it was, and he put himself in position to be Horse of the Year with a showdown looming with Arrogate in the Breeders' Cup Classic on November 4th at Del Mar. It's pretty cut and dry, winner take all. If somebody else wins it, then I guess it's not so cut and dry, but he was phenomenal. How about Voodoo Song winning 4 times at the meet, and starting off at a 40 claimer on day 2 and ending it on day 39 with a victory and a graded stake. Lady Eli winning 2 races up here. She was really only supposed to run in 1, but he won the Diana, won the Boston Spa. Phenomenal effort by her. Those are the top 3.
Songbird, we saw her final race. Unfortunately, she went out getting beat here for only the 2nd time in her career, but her popularity right to the end, the fans just loved her as she came back after the race.
They did. That was a phenomenal race. Give Dallas Stewart a lot of credit for having Forever Unbridled ready to roll off just her 2nd start of the year and running down a loose on the lead. Songbird, unfortunately, Songbird came out of the race diagnosed with some suspensory issues and has been retired. But yeah, she got a nice warm round of applause when she came back. In fact, I think they made more noise for the Personal Ensign than they did in the Travers when West Coast came back. People were like, okay, Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, And
let's talk about that, the Travers, if Dave can contain himself here. It's been a long, long meet, so luckily he is still standing, barely, but he is still here. West Coast came over from the West Coast and beat all the guys on the East Coast. Not a total surprise.
No, totally not a surprise at all. Who goes to the front, gallops along. The late developing horses seem to be the ones that are emerging in the 3-year-old division the last couple of years. Arrogate last year
West Coast this year. Jay Primmon, our colleague in California, reported today that he's going to run on the Pennsylvania Derby next. He had a little 3-furlong workout at Del Mar, and he'll stay with the 3-year-olds. And I guess if he wins that, you got to give him some serious consideration for a 3-year-old of the year.
A couple of quick hits, too. He didn't mention Jose Ortiz won the riding title again. He opened up a big lead in the middle of the meet and then held on over his brother. Pretty good feat winning that 2 years in a row.
Yeah, last Javier Castellano, I believe in 13 and 14, the last jockey to do that. And the interesting thing on the card today between the Ortiz brothers is Ira had claimed foul on Jose and got him disqualified, so he could have won it earlier in the day. He had to wait a little bit longer. I asked Jose, I said, did you poke him in the eye or something like that? What do you do? His brother's claiming foul on you when you're trying to win the meet, but all was good.
Shows you the game's on the level when the brothers claim foul against each other. We talked about Todd, we talked about Chad, and we know how well they did. But some trainers that really had under-the-radar good meets, a couple that come to mind, Jason Service, Charlie Baker, Linda Rice, we already talked about her. Any others you can think of?
Danny Gargan, I think he won close to 10 races, if I'm not mistaken, won 2 or 3 this closing weekend, and he does a tremendous job claiming horses and then putting them back right in the right spot. Him and Kendrick Carmouche are a good team that you're going to have to pay attention to, not only in meets like this, but also obviously at Aqueduct when Belmont Fall and Aqueduct when some of the bigger fish leave town. But another guy who had an under-the-radar meet from a jockey standpoint, John Velasquez, finished third in the standings with about 110 less mounts than the leader. I mean, talk about quality over quantity. A phenomenal job by him. Now, he took off his last mount. He was involved today in a little incident at the start of a race. Driven by speed, broke through the gate. Now, he did ride the Hopeful, but I guess after the Hopeful, he wasn't feeling so great, so he took off this mount in the last race. I'm sure he's okay, but he got a little bit banged up on closing day.
And Kieran McLaughlin, not under the radar, but he had a great meet as well. So hopefully Johnny will be back Friday at Belmont Park. I know you'll be there. I'll see you there Friday as well. We want to thank all our fans who tuned in here with us and put up with us all meet long on the Saratoga Report. I want to thank the people from LuxAir Jets that sponsored the report. For those who have asked, we are going to do a Belmont Clocker report that will start on opening day and run through October 1st, and that'll be available for purchase, I believe, starting tomorrow. So thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for being here all meet long at DRF.com, and the good coverage of New York racing, of racing everywhere, will continue at DRF.com as we get back in action again Friday at Belmont Park.